get to know him at all? You were here, I think, '86.
I did.
And your memories of him, any stories in terms of?
Well, Shelley was a girlfriend / fiance at the time, and I remember we met him at the golf course. He was failing in his health, and I remember I met him several times. Didn't talk real well, but I didn't really get to sit down and talk to him. And Shelley says, "Can I please go meet him?" And I started to walk over there. There was a line of about 30 people who was shaking his hand, and I said, I'll bring you over to the ROTC building at some point. We'll say hi to him. And then he passed away, so she never got to meet him. So I grew up admiring him, and you see my office, so I kind of Woody Hayes stuff in there.
Second thing there is, in his methods, could you get away with using his methods today in terms of?
Zero chance. Yeah, I will say this, because I should say that much differently, because so much respect for I'll say that Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes. That was the 10-year war. That was the time growing up. So it's just changed a lot. But the guys like Woody Hayes, I'm sure would have adapted. If you would have said in 1972 the way he coached, would you be able to do that today? No chance. But he's a brilliant person that would have adjusted.
How about the way he addressed this game? There's always so much respect between Michigan and Ohio State, but when he and Bo, they would go at it a little bit, even publicly. Is today almost too PC with this rivalry? I mean, it's all respect. It's don't take it. Don't.
I can only speak for myself, and I think the R word is critical here. I've been that way for 7 years, and absolutely incredible respect. And how do you respect someone and something? So that someone's your rival is something is the rivalry game. How do you respect? You work so freaking hard at it to do your very best. That's our side. Not talking about it, not publicly, going after people. Because I don't do that. And that's no. I think how do you show respect for them and the game? You work, which you are. We're working so damn hard for this.
Second row right, Tony.
How much Michigan did you watch? Do you watch every year?
Just when it's crossover.
And I guess, do you put it like in a memory bank? Do you store it away for later use, or do you just wait until it's this week to break it all out?
Our staff, sure, we pay special attention, and you try to, as it's going throughout the year, you don't want to lose some thoughts.
Second row left, Ari.
Urban, this week, roots are probably more important. Roots for people on this team, roots from where people on Michigan's team came from. There's this thing that fans tend to say a lot, that I've read a lot, when things aren't going well. Urban Meyer hasn't recruited enough kids from Ohio, because Ohio players inherently understand what the privilege it is to wear this uniform. Do you buy that?
I'm disappointed at times when I see that we see some of these, guys that are just playing their tails off, and we have opportunities to get. And a lot of times it doesn't even get to me, and I think this recruiting calendar has really put us in a tough situation at times where, we don't have spring football in the state of Ohio, and a lot of it at times is projection, and you see these just fantastic football players that people can say we missed on, and that's true. But they commit so early to, some schools are coming off for 20, 25 Ohio guys right away, and I kind of wish we could do that. And but you can't. You got to watch them play and get them to camps and watch. That's just the recruiting process. That's been kind of taken away in the last 5 years, where a lot of times you don't get them to camp. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're committed in the March of their junior year. And you're like, I just want to watch this guy play. Watch his plays, a couple plays in his senior year. So that's kind of what's taking place.
But when Ohio kids are on this team, do they approach things
This
differently?
team?
Yeah. When you get Ohio kids
Sure.
on this team,
Yeah, I get your question.
especially like this
as
week,
opposed to a California kid. Or
Yeah,
Texas
yeah.
kid.
I'm not saying that they don't play hard, but just the
yeah.
inherent understanding.
Absolutely.
Okay. And second of all, we talk a lot about pressure. I mean, people say, "Did you feel pressure during a game, or do you feel pressure to perform, or pressure to do this or that?" But this week, a lot of coaches are judged by the performance in this game. Obviously, you've done pretty well. Coach Harbaugh started off 0-3. Do you buy into the coach's pressure of having to perform to get the results during this week? And if the coach does feel that, can it trickle down to your team in terms of mannerisms, behavior,
I'll say this, that, you know, especially the time and effort and the players and the coaching staff, and if you're asking me, the head coach, the amount of time and effort you put into these games, and certainly there's no bigger than this. You know, I don't know the word pressure, absolutely there's there. For someone to say, there's no pressure, that's not true. Your question is very well thought out where you said, does it trickle down? And that's where you got to really do a good job and say, yeah, it's all there. Dwayne Haskins is going to feel pressure, but he's got to have confidence with Ryan Day, myself, that we're going to put him in the right positions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if a coach does show that they are being impacted by the pressure, even if there's a
That could
little
be a
apprehensive nature or
That
something,
could be a negative. You got to
you have to watch yourself.
display confidence and with the plan.
Got time for one more set of questions. Tim?
Yeah, Urban, speaking of Dwayne Haskins and confidence in the plan, et cetera, if you had divorced yourself, weren't standing on the sideline Saturday, you know, your offense went on 3 or 4 drives that were critical. I mean, one in a game would be huge, but 3 or 4. What did that just tell you about, you know, Dwayne in particular, but the offense in general, on the maybe the confidence it has that it can rise to the occasion no matter what?
Well, I made these notes just as I was walking in because, you know, it's not like me to be the Joe Positive guy. You know, I'm usually the opposite. But you had almost 700 yards against a top 25 defense. You're down by 14 3 times on the road. Your quarterback and receivers made just incredible plays down the stretch really all day. Your tailback ran 37 times against a stout defense. Your offensive line played 105 plays, and there's nothing more important than the 105th play with the backup left tackle. And so, yeah, that's kind of the mindset that I want to get through this building too, is that, yeah, it was not, we're 10-1, we have to move forward, we're going to try to fix our problems. You've been hearing that for a while, but that's what we're doing. And offense, you try to build them up and make sure that now that one's over. Let's get them rested, healthy. 105 plays, that's, right now, that's my biggest concern, is how do I get to Tuesdays, Wednesdays practice against this, you know, very good defense. You have to be ready to swing because they're going to have to swing very hard on Saturday.
And 2 other quickies. Josh Allaby, you touched on him a little bit, but just how huge was that? I mean, to step into a game when he did and then deliver. I mean, what does that just tell you about him?
Well, that's been coming. You've heard me talk
yeah.
about him getting better each week, and there was a time about he had some injury issues too. There was a time 5 weeks ago that there was no depth. You know, Brandon Bone was there ready to go too, so we do have a little bit of depth right now.
And last thing, you know, this game is about microcosm, about one-on-one matchups as much as anything else. Is Isaiah Prince, in your opinion, I think final home game in the stadium, he's going to be going against probably Rashawn Gary a lot, you would think, but is he up to that task? What's your feeling of confidence there, and why do you have it? Yeah.
Well, he's played against Rashawn last year and hung in there, and they're very good. And I think Isaiah's worked as hard as any offensive lineman I've ever had. And he's got, I just saw him earlier today, and he's going to work really hard for this game.
Urban, can I ask you one last quick one about Earl? This is the first Michigan week without Earl. I'm sure you think about him a lot, but what will you think about Earl Bruce this week in particular?
Well, obviously very close to him in 1986. That was the first time that I experienced it with Coach, and then obviously the 1987 game up in Ann Arbor. That was his last game as a coach, and so I think about that quite often.
Great, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.